"Can I have $1 for the school bus?" The poor girl cried. Unaware he was a CEO billionaire, unaware the simple question she whispered with shaking hands would change both of their lives forever. Her backpack was torn, her shoes worn thin, and her voice cracked like someone used to being ignored. But he wasn't just any stranger on a cold morning sidewalk. He was the CEO billionaire. She had unknowingly stopped a man hidden behind a plain jacket. A man the world bowed for, but she saw as just another passerby. Her eyes begged for help, but the weight behind them revealed a story of hunger, exhaustion, and battles no child should face. He looked at her, truly looked, but he didn't reveal who he was. He simply held her gaze as if he recognized a pain he once knew himself. But why would a CEO billionaire stop for a poor schoolgirl? Why would a man worth millions freeze on the sidewalk just because a child asked for a single dollar? And what exactly would he drive her in that would shock everyone who thought they already knew his world? The morning air in downtown Raleigh carried that sharp bite that only early winter could bring. Offices were just beginning to wake, pulling up their metal shutters and switching on lights floor by floor. Cars hummed down the avenue, their exhaust slipping into the cold air like thin ghosts. People walked with purpose, coffee in hand, scarves up, eyes forward. No one stopped. No one noticed anything outside the rhythm of their morning rush, except her. A small girl with frizzy brown hair, maybe 12 years old, stood by the cracked bus stop sign. Her backpack sagged like it was filled with bricks instead of notebooks. The left strap had snapped and been repaired with a safety pin. Her shoes were too big, probably hand-me-downs, dragging slightly with each step she took as she mustered the courage to approach strangers. "Excuse me, sir, can I have $1 for the school bus?" Her voice was low, almost scared of itself. She had already asked 3 people. None had stopped. One woman even recoiled, clutching her purse tighter. But when she stepped in front of him, the tall man in the plain charcoal jacket, her words didn't just fall out. They cracked, trembled, and landed at his feet like something heavy. He turned, surprised, not because she'd asked him for money, but because she asked him exactly the way he once asked someone else decades ago when he himself was just a hungry kid standing on a sidewalk with nothing but holes in his pockets. His name was Ethan Cole. 42. Clean-shaven. Calm eyes. Calm presence. A man who usually moved through streets, surrounded by attention, whispers, cameras, and executive assistants scrambling at his heels. A man who had entire buildings named after him. A man who could buy this entire block if he felt like it. But today, he'd dressed down dark jeans, jacket zipped halfway, no tie, no watch. Anyone else would look ordinary. For him, it was camouflage. He wasn't supposed to be here, not on this side of town. He had slipped away, needing a break from boardrooms, investors, and a crisis that was brewing quietly inside his company, something he hadn't told anyone yet. Something that had kept him awake until 3 a.m., staring at spreadsheets and projections, wondering if the empire he built was beginning to crack. So when the girl stopped him, he stared longer than he meant to. Her fingers shook, not from the cold, from something deeper. "What's your name?" he asked softly. Hannah," she murmured, eyes dropping as if she expected him to snap at her. "Hannah." He repeated it gently, like it mattered. "Why do you need $1? She swallowed hard. Her lips were dry. I lost my bus card. And I don't have lunch money today. And the school says if I'm late again, they'll call my mom. But she's not home and..." She stopped, biting her lip until it turned white. "Please. Just $1. Ethan had heard scripts before, stories people told to get cash. This wasn't a script. This was a crack in a window revealing an entire house falling apart inside. A bus roared in the distance. Hannah glanced over her shoulder, panicked. He reached into his jacket, not for money, but for something she didn't expect, a handkerchief. He offered it, seeing the cold redness in her nose. She blinked, confused. "You're not mad?" "Of course not," he said. "I just want you to breathe." She clutched the cloth like it was something precious. Ethan pulled out his wallet, not the sleek, expensive one he used for board meetings. This was an old leather one, faded, scratched, the one he kept for sentimental reasons. Inside, it was a photograph of him at 7, barefoot, standing beside his mother outside a rundown trailer. He rarely let anyone see that photo. But the moment he saw Hannah's trembling hands, he felt the same old ache of remembering shoes too small, hunger too loud, and days when even $1 felt impossible. He handed her a bill. Her eyes widened. This is 20. I know, he said. You'll need lunch too. She didn't move. Didn't breathe. Tears gathered but didn't fall. Not yet. Thank you, sir. The bus screeched closer. Do you have someone picking you up after school? He asked. No. I walk home. How far? 40 minutes, she whispered. Ethan felt something lock into place inside him. Something old, something protective, something fierce. Stay here a moment, he said. Before she could ask why, he stepped away, pulling out his phone. Not to call corporate, not to check emails, but to check something else, something he hadn't looked at in years. The address of the shelter he grew up in, a place he'd avoided revisiting. But the world had a strange way of pushing people back into the beginnings they tried to outrun. Hannah hugged her backpack, watching him, unaware the man she'd just asked for $1 was a CEO billionaire who owned a fleet of luxury cars, private jets, and entire tech campuses, unaware that what he was about to drive her in would silence everyone around them. The bus hissed to a stop, brakes squealing as the doors swung open. Students rushed forward, shoving past each other, their backpacks bumping and scraping against cold metal poles. Hannah stepped toward the curb instinctively, gripping the $20 bill like it might disappear if she blinked. But she paused when she noticed Ethan still watching her, calm, steady, unreadable. You're not getting on? He asked. She hesitated. I thought you said stay. I did, he replied gently. I'm taking you to school myself. Her lips parted, stunned. Why? You don't even know me. Ethan offered a small smile. Maybe I don't need to know you, to care. The words landed with a softness that made her shoulders drop, shoulders that looked too used to carrying weight, too used to disappointment. But before she could respond, a voice boomed from behind. Hey, you getting on or what? The bus driver barked. Hannah flinched at the tone. Ethan stepped slightly in front of her, not aggressively, just enough for the driver to sense he wasn't someone to talk down to. She's with me, Ethan said calmly. The driver huffed. Whatever, he muttered before closing the doors and speeding off, leaving a cloud of exhaust behind. Hannah hugged her jacket tighter. If they call the school and say I didn't get on, they're gonna ask questions. I'll handle it, Ethan said. Come. She followed him slowly, almost warily, as if still unsure if this was safe. If he was safe. The sidewalk led to a parking structure across the street, the kind with multiple levels spiraling up like a concrete maze. They moved through the shadows until they reached the corner where a single vehicle sat alone. And Hannah froze. Her breath stilled. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears, because parked there, under the bright glow of morning light slipping in from the open wall, was a silver Bentley Mulsanne, polished, immaculate, unmistakably expensive. Its chrome accents caught the sun, scattering sharp glimmers across the floor. The leather interior was visible through the windows, cream-colored, spotless, luxurious beyond anything she had ever seen up close. She blinked once, twice. No way. No way this is yours, she whispered. Ethan didn't answer immediately. Instead, he clicked the key fob. The Bentley's lights flashed, the soft beep echoing in the empty concrete space. He walked ahead and opened the passenger door, holding it for her with natural ease, as if this wasn't a display but simply habit, gentle, respectful habit. Hannah's head spun. You said you were just taking a graft walk, she stammered. I was, he replied. But people who walk don't drive things like this. Ethan lowered his gaze for a moment. You're right. She swallowed hard. Who are you? That question hung there like a suspended truth neither of them was ready to catch. He motioned toward the seat. Get in, you'll be late. Her feet felt glued to the ground. A voice inside her, one sharpened by hard years, told her this couldn't be real. People didn't help without wanting something. People didn't give money, time, or comfort without a price. Life had taught her that through bruises she never spoke about and nights she counted ceiling cracks because sleep felt unsafe. Ethan saw the hesitation in her eyes. I'm not going to hurt you, he said softly. Something in his tone, controlled, patient, familiar with childhood fear, broke through the wall she'd built. Slowly, she climbed in. He closed the door gently and circled to the driver's side. When he sat, the car filled with the faint scent of leather and cedarwood. He started the engine. It hummed like silk. Hannah traced her fingers over the door handle. This costs more than my apartment, she whispered without meaning to speak aloud. Ethan didn't deny it. Instead, he watched her in the reflection of the windshield, this tiny girl trying hard not to look amazed, trying even harder not to look afraid. You see this car? He said. She nodded. I didn't always have this. I didn't have anything. A beat passed. I grew up in a shelter not far from where you live. Her head snapped up. You did? He nodded once, and I remembered days just like this one. Hannah's face softened barely, but enough for him to see she believed him. He continued driving, pulling out of the structure and merging onto the avenue. Every building they passed seemed to mirror a different part of her life, places she had walked alone, places she avoided, places she passed quickly so people wouldn't notice her. Then her stomach rumbled. She froze, mortified. Ethan pretended not to hear, but she knew he had. Her hands curled in her lap, embarrassed. When was the last time you ate? He asked gently. I don't know. Last night, I think. She shrugged one shoulder. Sometimes Mom works late. Sometimes she forgets. Does she hurt you? He asked quietly. No, she said quickly, too quickly. She's tired. She works 2 jobs, and my little brother is sick. She doesn't mean to forget. It's hard. He nodded slowly, and in his silence, she felt seen, more seen than any adult had ever made her feel. They drove for another minute before Ethan spoke again. Hannah, he said, glancing at her gently. I'm going to help you, but not just with $1. She looked up, eyes shining, not with hope, but with confusion born from a lifetime of disappointment. Why? She asked again. Why me? He inhaled deeply. Because once, someone helped me when they didn't have to, and it saved my life. She studied him like he was a puzzle she didn't know how to solve. And maybe, he added with a quiet intensity, this morning is happening for a reason neither of us understands yet. He didn't tell her the truth. Not yet. Not that he was a CEO billionaire. Not that what he drove her in would make headlines if people saw. Not that she had just stepped into a world that would reshape her entire future. But the foreshadowing hung between them like a silent promise. Nothing about this morning was ordinary. And nothing about what was coming next would be, either. The Bentley glided through the quieter residential streets, where cracked sidewalks and faded porches told stories of families trying their best with too little. Hannah held the edge of her backpack tightly, watching the world blur past her window. It felt strange being inside something so soft, so warm, so impossibly expensive when her own life felt like it was held together by duct tape and hope. Ethan drove slowly, not because of traffic, but because he kept glancing at her, studying her reactions. Every flinch, every forced shrug, every tiny breath she tried to hide. He recognized the signs. He once lived in the space between fear and survival too. Is your brother at home this morning? Ethan asked. She nodded faintly. Caleb. He's 3. He has asthma. Some days it gets bad. Is your mother with him? No. She left around 5. She works at a diner on Henderson Road. Then she cleans offices at night. Ethan tightened his grip on the wheel. That's a heavy load. She tries, Hannah said softly. She really does. She just forgets things sometimes. Her voice wavered. She didn't always forget. Ethan didn't push. Children, he knew, carried more truth in their pauses than their words. As they turned onto Maple Ridge Street, Hannah tensed suddenly. There, she said, pointing toward a small, worn-down house with peeling paint and a sagging porch. That's mine. A blue sedan was parked crookedly in the driveway, its bumper dented, the front tire flat. Clothes hung on a line that dipped in the middle like it was tired too. Ethan slowed the car but didn't pull in. Hannah panicked. No. Don't stop here. If my neighbors see this car, they'll think something weird. Please just keep driving. Just drop me off around the corner. Please. Her desperation startled him, but it made sense. A Bentley in this neighborhood wasn't just unusual, it was suspicious. He circled the block once, stopping near a small playground with rusty swings. Children played here sometimes, but today it stood empty except for a plastic tricycle tipped sideways. He put the car in park. Hannah stared at her hands, twisting her fingers. If they think I'm talking to someone rich, they might call someone, or ask questions, or... She swallowed. I can't deal with that right now. Ethan's voice was steady. I won't bring trouble to your home, Hannah. She looked at him, her eyes large and vulnerable. You already brought something. I don't know what it is yet, but I feel it. The honesty hit him in the chest. Do you usually walk to school from here? He asked. Yeah. Takes about 40 minutes. Not anymore. She blinked. What do you mean? I'm driving you today, and maybe again tomorrow, and the next day, if that's something you're okay with. Her lips parted slowly. Why? You don't owe me anything. That's not how kindness works, he said. Her eyes shimmered for a moment before she looked away quickly, hiding the emotion. Then Ethan made a decision not impulsive, but inevitable. He reached over and opened the glove compartment. Inside was a crisp, unopened envelope. He looked at it for a moment before sighing. I didn't plan to show this today. I wasn't ready, but I think you need to see something. He handed her the envelope. Her small fingers touched the smooth texture cautiously, like it might burn her. She opened it and pulled out a single card, thick, matte, embossed with silver lettering. Cole Industries, Ethan Cole, Chief Executive Officer. The title stared back at her, loud and unbelievable. Her breath caught. Chief, Executive. Oh, she couldn't finish. The world inside the Bentley shifted. The air thickened with the weight of a secret she never expected to hold. She looked at him as if seeing a completely different person, like she'd been talking to a disguised king she mistook for a stranger. You're a CEO? She whispered. Yes. You're a billionaire? He didn't flinch. Yes. She looked around the car again as reality stitched itself together. Her heart hammered. Her breathing shook. Why? Why would a CEO billionaire stop for someone like me? Ethan leaned back, eyes softened with memory. Because once, someone stopped for me when I was exactly like you. Poor, hungry, scared, invisible. That person saved my life, and I promised myself I'd become the kind of man who did the same. Hannah's throat tightened. She gripped the card until her hands trembled. I thought people like you didn't notice kids like me. He smiled gently. People like me only exist because of kids like you. She stared at him. Really stared, not at the wealth, not at the power, but at the quiet ache in his eyes. An ache she recognized. A past she had walked in different shoes. The bell inside the school rang faintly in the distance, carried by the cold wind. You're going to be late, Ethan said softly. She nodded, wiping her eyes quickly with her sleeve. Can you drop me a block away? I don't want anyone to see me get out. He nodded. Whatever makes you comfortable. As he drove toward the school street, she clutched his business card to her chest, holding it like a lifeline she didn't yet understand. When the Bentley rolled to a stop, she hesitated, hand on the door handle. Ethan, she whispered. Yes? Are you coming back tomorrow? His answer was simple but carried the weight of something larger than both of them. Yes, Hannah. I'm not going anywhere. She stepped out, the cold breeze hitting her instantly. She took a few steps, then looked back at him, eyes filled with something new, something dangerous and beautiful. Hope, but neither of them knew that by tomorrow morning, something would happen that would tie their lives together forever. Something neither of them could walk away from. Morning broke with a heavy gray sky, the kind that made the world feel quieter, slower, as if something important was waiting to happen beneath the clouds. Ethan pulled into the same parking spot as before, tapping his fingers lightly on the steering wheel. His sleep had been restless images of Hannah's trembling hands, her worn shoes, her shy glances replaying over and over in his mind. He kept thinking about her words. Are you coming back tomorrow? He had answered honestly, but he didn't anticipate how much he would want to come back. He checked the clock, 7:11 a.m. She was usually outside by now. He scanned the street. No sign of her. A knot tightened in his chest. He stepped out of the Bentley, the cold air biting at his face, and walked toward her street. And then he heard it. A cough. A child's cry. A woman shouting. He quickened his pace. Ahead, he found Hannah standing on her porch steps, clutching a small boy Caleb against her chest. He was wheezing painfully, gasping between coughs. Her mother, a woman in her early 30s with deep exhaustion etched into her skin, stood, barefoot on the porch, panicked, running her hands through her tangled hair. "We don't have his inhaler. I thought it was in his bag, but Hannah, where did you put it? Oh God, he can't breathe. I don't know." Hannah cried. "Mom, I looked. I swear I looked." Ethan didn't hesitate. He ran. "Hannah," he called. She spun around, shock crossing her face. "Ethan, what happened?" Caleb's small body shuddered violently as he fought for air. His mother paced frantically. "His asthma, he needs the nebulizer. But it broke last month and I haven't been paid yet. He's getting worse. What am I supposed to do?" "Give him to me," Ethan said firmly. Her mother blinked. "What?" "Hannah, come with me. Now. We don't have time." Hannah didn't question him. She thrust Caleb into his arms. Ethan held the boy close, feeling the sharp rattling of each breath against his chest. He turned to the mother. "Get in the car." She froze, eyes darting to the Bentley at the curb. "I'm not getting into some rich man's. This is life or death," Ethan said sharply. "Your son is crashing." That broke through. She grabbed her coat and raced after him. The doors flew open, and within seconds, all three were inside. Ethan's voice dropped into controlled calm, the same tone he used when making billion-dollar decisions that affected thousands of employees. "Hannah, hold Caleb upright. Keep his airway open." She positioned her brother carefully, tears streaming down her cheeks. Ethan hit the gas. The Bentley roared to life, shooting forward with silent power. They sped through back streets, cutting through yellow lights, the engine humming like a controlled storm. Caleb wheezed harder. "Stay with me, buddy," Ethan murmured. "Just stay with me." They pulled into the emergency lane of St. Bridge Hospital. Nurses rushed forward. Ethan lifted Caleb into his arms and barreled through the sliding glass doors. "We need respiratory support now," he shouted. The medical team sprang into action. Oxygen masks, steroids, nebulized meds. Within minutes, Caleb's breathing began to steady. Color returned to his cheeks. Hannah sobbed with relief, collapsing into a chair. Her mother sank beside her, trembling. Thank you. I didn't know what to do." Ethan exhaled deeply as the adrenaline drained from his body. But then the doctor approached. "Are you family?" the doctor asked. Ethan glanced at the mother, unsure. She looked at her children, at the man who saved her son, at the businessman card she found last night in Hannah's pocket. "You are now," she whispered. Hours later, after Caleb was stabilized and resting with warm blankets and quiet breathing, the three of them gathered in the waiting area. The hospital light was soft, washing their faces in a calm glow. Hannah sat beside Ethan, leaning slightly, against his arm, not out of dependence, but out of trust, a trust she had never given easily. Her mother cleared her throat. "Hannah told me who you are. CEO Billionaire. I didn't believe her until the nurse recognized you." She let out a breath. "I don't know why someone like you would help someone like us." "Because someone once helped me," Ethan said, "and because your daughter deserves better than the world has given her so far." Hannah's voice trembled. "Why did you come back today?" "Because I said I would." His answer was simple, but to her it was the rarest thing in the world. Someone who didn't leave, someone who didn't break a promise. Then came the moment neither of them expected. Hannah's mother wiped her eyes. If you hadn't shown up," her voice cracked. "Caleb could have died." She reached for Ethan's hand. "Thank you. I mean it. If there's ever anything we can do." "There is," Ethan said. Hannah looked up quickly. "What?" her mother asked. "Let me help," Ethan replied. "Not just today, not just this morning, but long term." Her mother stared, stunned. Why? Ethan looked at Hannah with a gentleness that softened everything around him. Because she stopped me on the sidewalk asking for a single dollar, and she didn't know she was saving me too. The room fell still. Hannah's eyes filled again, this time not with fear, not with pain, but with something bigger, something brighter, hope. A nurse approached, handing Hannah her brother's stuffed toy. She took it slowly, then turned back to Ethan. Ethan? Yes? Can you, maybe still take me to school sometimes? Not in the Bentley, she added quickly. People will freak out. But, just, sometimes? He smiled. I'll take you every day, he said, in whatever I drive. Her mother raised a brow. And what exactly do you drive? Ethan chuckled softly. Well, depends on the day. They all looked at him. He gestured toward the window, where the Bentley shimmered slightly in the gray morning light, and in that quiet moment, all of them realized something. That what he drove her in that first morning, the same car waiting outside right now, wasn't just a luxury vehicle. It was the beginning of something none of them could have predicted. A new life, a new chance, a new future, born from a single question. Can I have $1 for the school bus?